Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Blind Boys Politics. And once again, we will open this show with Chris reading us some weather.
In Los Angeles, it's 87 with a nice sunny weekend. Houston, Texas, sunny and 59, partly cloudy weekend. Chicago, Illinois, 37, and it's snowing today and Sunday. New York City, 47, rainy today and tomorrow.
Doesn't really seem like winter, I must say.
Even though it's raining even though it's snowing in
Well,
Chicago,
okay.
that doesn't seem like winter to you.
Let me reiterate. It doesn't seem like winter in New York.
Well, you and me are getting snow this weekend.
True. But
just not New York City.
Hearing 47 in the middle of January doesn't feel right.
Do you have a problem with that?
All the problems in the world.
I don't know about you, but the warmer it is, the better I am mentally.
I totally get that. I don't know. Guess it's just one of those things where you expect, hey, you're in New York in the middle of January. It's going to be -5. Nope. Not the case.
I would like a little bit of sun because the last 2 days it's been cloudy day.
It's been gloomy. Yeah.
I work better when it's sunny out. So I've been having every light on in my office lately, and I probably drove the power bill up $40.
Even Sunday was pretty gloomy for like the first half of the day. Sun didn't come out, at least at my house, until, I don't know, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
Well, Sunday is Sunday, and I don't pay attention on Sundays.
Fair enough.
Like Sundays are my days that I just pretty much stay in bed all day.
Yeah, I get that.
I do laundry.
Yeah.
Make a dessert for the week, and that's it.
Sundays are my day to panic because I haven't done schoolwork yet.
See, I do that Friday nights.
Oh, fun. I wish I could do that.
So I have the weekends semi-off.
Oh, yeah, no, my brain doesn't work like that.
I know. I work with you 7 days a week. I'm fully aware how your brain operates.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Don't tell me how your brain operates.
Oh, God. Fair enough. Well, that's a pretty good overview of how we are today, guys. Oh, my God. But it's been, I feel like I'm saying this a lot more often now. This week has been an insane week. And another Wednesday,
some understatement, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But I don't think there's really a good enough word to explain and translate just how this week has gone.
Exhaustion.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, let's backtrack Wednesday a little bit and go to Tuesday night, shall we?
Let's do that.
The House passed a resolution for Vice President Mike Pence to invoke the 25th Amendment. The 25th Amendment gives the Vice President the power to gather members of the cabinet and then gives them the ability to remove the president from office because the cabinet and the vice president believes that he is unable to do his job in office.
So this House resolution is symbolic because the power to invoke the 25th Amendment lies with the vice president. Now, Vice President Mike Pence sent a one-page letter to the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, saying that he doesn't believe that invoking the 25th Amendment is the right course of action at this time. It's not in the best interest of our nation.
So, with that being said, the impeachment process moved forward Wednesday, as I'm sure you're aware, but let's take a quick pause on getting into that. And I think we should kind of have a little conversation about how the whole impeachment process works. Because I think a lot of people understand the impeachment process, but there's a lot of little bits and pieces to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of loose ends that I don't think really get covered by many people. So yeah, we'll take a second and just kind of go over everything that's involved real quick.
To impeach a president, the process starts with the majority of the House needing to vote yay for it. Then those decisions are transcribed and sent to the Senate. Then the Senate must start an impeachment trial the next day they are in session, which for this case, it is January 19th, 2021.
So during the Senate's portion of the impeachment process, a committee of House members called managers act as prosecutors, senators act like a jury, and the Chief Justice from the Supreme Court will act as a judge. President Trump will have members that represent him. And while trials are going on, the senators they'll consider evidence and they'll listen to witnesses.
The Constitution does require 2/3 vote of the majority of the Senate to convict a president. The penalty of conviction is obviously removal of the office. And like I already said, that the Senate won't be back until January 19th. On the 20th, President Trump will no longer be a sitting president. By that time, the trial could begin. This leaves lots of questions of the conviction after a president is already removed. There's lots of questions going on. A lot of people talking, well, what are the consequences? Usually impeachment, removal of office, but if he's already out of office, what is the punishment that would take place?
Right. So, obviously the main argument going on right now is that it would prevent him from running in 2024. But that's not exactly confirmed at this time. There's still a lot of argument and debate going on as far as that goes. And that would, if he is convicted and that is the course of action that they want to take, that would start a whole new process, which we will get to if that day should arise.
Impeachment day comes Wednesday. So we made a little timeline of the whole impeachment process in case you weren't like me and watched it all day long. Starting with Liz Cheney, member of the GOP leadership, number 3 Republican, said she would vote to impeach President Trump, and she stated this Tuesday evening.
So at 12:40 p.m., House Speaker Nancy Pelosi spoke to open up the debate, and we'll play that audio here.
Must go. He is a clear and present danger to the nation that we all love. Since the presidential election in November, an election the president lost, he has repeatedly lied about the outcome, sowed self-serving doubt about democracy, and unconstitutionally sought to influence state officials to repeal reality. And then came that day of fire we all experienced. The president must be impeached, and I believe the president must be convicted by the Senate, a constitutional remedy that will ensure that the Republic will be safe from this man who was so resolutely determined to tear down the things that we hold dear and that hold us together.
At 12:50 p.m., Jim Jordan speaks, defending President Trump, and we'll play that audio here.
Why? Politics and the fact that they want to cancel the president. The president who cut taxes, the president who reduced regulations, the president prior to COVID had the greatest economy, lowest unemployment in 50 years, the president who got us out of the Iran deal, put the embassy in Jerusalem, brought hostages home from North Korea, put 3 great justices on the Supreme Court, gave us a new NAFTA agreement, the Abraham Accords, the COVID vaccine, and who built the wall. It's about politics. This is about getting the President of the United States. They spied on his campaign before he was elected. 19 minutes into his presidency, they started the impeachment push.
So at around 2:30 p.m., President Trump came out with a statement. Chris, why don't you read that for us here?
In light of reports of more demonstrations, I urge that there must be no violence, no law breaking, and no vandalism of any kind. That is not what I stand for, and it is not what America stands for. I call on all Americans to help ease tensions and calm tempers. Thank you.
Next, at 6:02 p.m., President Trump released a video on the White House Twitter account. We'll play that here.
I unequivocally condemn the violence that we saw last week. There has been reporting that additional demonstrations are being planned in the coming days. Every American deserves to have their voice heard in a respectful and peaceful way. That is your First Amendment right. But I cannot emphasize that there must be no violence, no law breaking, and no vandalism of any kind. I have directed federal agencies to use all necessary resources to maintain order.
That was roughly a 5-minute video. That is just highlight clips of the video. At 6:15, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi signs the impeachment papers. We'll play that audio here.
And now, I sadly, and with her heart broken over what this means to our country, of a president who will incite insurrection, will sign the engrossment of the article of impeachment.
So, with the impeachment signed, the final vote was 232 to 197, with 10 Republicans in support of the impeachment.
You might be asking yourself, okay, he's been impeached. What's next? Well, these articles will move immediately to the Senate. There is a lot of policies and procedures that need to be done. The impeachment trial will happen when the Senate is back from recess.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has said that he will not be bringing the Senate back early. This means that the trial won't begin until the afternoon of January 20th.
Yes, the impeachment process of President Trump can still happen after President-elect Joe Biden is sworn into office. So the trials will go on even with a new president. Now, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi already designated these 9 managers that Nick is going to tell us.
All right, if I mispronounce any of these, I do dearly apologize. First, we have Representative Jamie Raskin, Democrat from Maryland. Next, we have Representative Diana DeGette, Democrat from Colorado. Next, we have Representative David Cicilline, Democrat from Rhode Island. Next up, we have Representative Joaquin Castro, a Democrat from Texas. Then we have Representative Eric Swalwell, a Democrat from California. Then Representative Ted Lieu, a Democrat also from California. Representative Joe Neguse, a Democrat from Colorado. Then we have Representative Stacey Plaskett, a Democrat from the Virgin Islands. And finally, Representative Madeline Dean, a Democrat from Pennsylvania.
And just a little reminder, it takes 2/3 majority in the Senate to convict during an impeachment trial.
Well, that wraps it up for the information about the impeachment for now. As more unfolds, we will, of course, as always, be updating you with the new information. But for now, we have more stimulus information to talk about. So $284 million is now up for grabs for small businesses. Small businesses could start applying for PPP loans on Monday, the 11th. This was if your business was a first-time borrower applying through a community financial institution. These types of banks usually will give funding through underserved communities.
Wednesday, the 13th, the second draw PPP loans applications for small businesses applying through community financial institution as well. The SBA, also known as Small Business Association, says a few days later all other small businesses can apply and will most likely be accepted. Yes, these loans can go to people that have already got funding from the first PPP loans, if that was not clear, but there are some rules that you need to follow. You need to have 300 or less employees, must prove a 25% reduction in gross receipts to comparable quarters from 2019 and 2020.
And yes, PPP loans, they can be forgiven if you do follow the rules. This is all in the stimulus that passed back in December.
There are several tax deductions that will impact your business. All the rules and applications are available at sba.gov. The deadline to apply for the PPP loans is March 31st, 2021.
All right. With all of the confirmed information about stimulus and all that out of the way, let's move into a bit of a discussion about stimulus bill. Or
Let's have just a little
stimulus checks. It's stimulus checks in particular. So, to state first off, President-elect Joe Biden does have intentions and plans for a new stimulus. We're going to tell you the same thing that we were saying about President Trump. He cannot pass any plans, any bills, anything like that without the vote, without it being passed in the House and the Senate.
Now, it may be easier to pass the stimulus after January 20th because the Democrats will have control of the House, the Senate, and of course, the White House. Don't get me wrong when I say that, it's still going to be hard to pass it.
Right. It's not going to be a straightforward, just simple process. There's still a lot that needs to be done, and there's going to be challenges along the way.
Now, let's be honest. You see in the news all the time, $2,000 checks could be going through, just if you look up stimulus, that's all you see, $2,000 check, $2,000 check, this and that. Well, when you're reading these articles, you kind of have to think a little bit. There's certain words that you look out for.
Yeah, there are a few. The most prevalent ones to be on the lookout for are could, seem, might, and proposal. All of these things mean that it's not a done deal. It's not confirmed. It hasn't gone through. Politicians talk.
Yeah, so, that's the bottom line. Politicians talk. Nothing matters until it's written down. Then it's news. That's actual news. When it's written down, that's when there's actual news to report on it. That's when there might be a chance of it passing. But politicians do a lot of talking, so you have to be able to identify what's just talk and what's actual things that could be going to vote.
Right. So, unless you see a confirmed report of a vote happening on a stimulus bill or any bill in general, if you don't see a confirmed report that it's going to vote or it's gone through vote or that it's been signed or whatever, if you see those trigger words that I mentioned a minute ago, just know that it's there for clickbait, essentially.
The moment that it's in writing, there's a bill going to vote or anything major that's not politicians talking, we'll be the first ones to report it for you. But until then, we're not going to report on talk. We're going to talk about the facts, what's happening, what could actually lead to something instead of just talking.
So with that discussion out of the way and out there, we move on.
If you don't mind, I would like to add one more note to this, because someone said this to me years ago, and it's always stuck in my head that, the president could say everyone's going to get a unicorn tomorrow. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. Unless it's literally written, there's a bill signed, no one's getting a unicorn tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay? So with that being said, let's move into the next topic.
Well, that'll stick with me for quite some time, Chris. Thanks for that one.
You're welcome.
But yeah, no, we move on to our next topic. And it's been a topic that's been pretty prevalent, very prevalent, I should say, ever since the attack on the Capitol last Wednesday. And that is the amount of security that's going to be in place during the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden on the 20th. So the Department of Homeland Security enacted heavy security, including special barriers and locking down some streets in DC. This was on Wednesday, the 13th. This usually happens the 19th or the day before inauguration. But after last week's events, they felt it necessary to lock down the area a week in advance. Beyond last week's events, there are threats of another attack on Inauguration Day. So the security is in place to make sure of that as well.
With that being said, Congress did get a 1-hour briefing Monday night. The briefing is on the dangers of that could potentially happen on Inauguration Day. There is 4 specific armed threats against the Capitol, the White House, and the Supreme Court. One congressperson said, "It was horrifying, the most chilling hour of my life." Another said, "If you weren't afraid getting on the call, you were afraid when you got off." And after that, there will be 20,000 troops in Washington, D.C. on Inauguration Day, and 43 states are sending support.
So after that, we come to the first FBI briefing since the attack on the Capitol on the 6th. We have some of the briefing here, so we'll play that audio for you now.
We're looking at and treating this just like a significant international counterterrorism or counterintelligence operation. We're looking at everything: money, travel records. Their only marching orders from me are to build seditious and conspiracy charges related to the most heinous acts that occurred in the Capitol. And these are significant charges that have felonies with prison terms of up to 20 years.
So even if you've left D.C., agents from our local field offices will be knocking on your door.
The Capitol Police were in open-handed combat with some of these persons inside the Capitol, where tear gas was used on the Capitol Police and federal officers, and they were also used against some of these rioters. And I think people are going to be shocked with some of the egregious contact that happened within the Capitol.
So as more people are arrested, we will keep you posted. But that is all we have to say about that.
Tuesday, President Trump went to Texas to look at the border wall, the portion that has been completed. He threatened if Congress impeached him, his supporters will get angry and dangerous, and we have a clip of that here.
Be careful what you wish for. The impeachment hoax is a continuation of the greatest and most vicious witch hunt in the history of our country. and is causing tremendous anger and division and pain, far greater than most people will ever understand, which is very dangerous for the USA, especially at this very tender time.
But that is all we have for today's news. Chris, do we want to move into some rapid news?
Sure. Start us off. Donations were up 40% in 2020 compared to the year of 2019.
The Dollar General is offering to pay its workers if they get the COVID-19 vaccine.
Apple is spending $100 million to expand opportunities to people of color.
And with that out of the way, we now move into good news, and I have our story for us today. So in Seattle, obviously with COVID-19, everything's been shut down. That means a lot of bakers have been baking from home and all that. And there's actually like a community baking group that formed, and they have, over the course of the pandemic, they have managed to donate 1,300 loaves of bread to a food bank, which has seen surges in, its number of people that it serves. And it wasn't just the loaves of bread that they donated either. For Thanksgiving, they managed to donate thousands of dinner rolls, and for Christmas time they donated 4,000 cookies. And beyond the amazingness of the donations, when you read through the article, you get to see some of the people speak. They gave their thoughts on the whole thing, and a lot of them had said, a lot of the bakers had said that it gave them a chance to grow closer to their family. One woman said that she hadn't been able to spend time with her father in months, but he got some, simple cooking tools, and they started Zoom calling, and next thing you know, they were making bread together over Zoom. Another woman said that it allowed her to spend some quality time with her grandmother before she passed. So, it not only helped, they not only helped a ton of people that couldn't afford the food, but it also allowed them to grow closer with their families and with their own community. It was a heartwarming story all around.
So, Nick, just to clarify, they've donated 1,300 loaves of bread.
Yep.
Thousands of dinner rolls.
Yep.
And 4,000 cookies.
Yep.
I only have one thing to say. That's a lot of flour and yeast.
Yeah.
I mean, that's hours upon hours upon hours, because in between each batch of dough, you generally have to wait 3 hours for the yeast to rise. So this bakery invested a lot of time and a lot of money to help their community.
Oh yeah, this group, they came together, and a lot of them weren't bakers for a very long time. They kind of joined when the pandemic kind of shut everything down, and it was just a great way for the community to come together. And yeah, that's a lot of yeast, it's a lot of flour, it's a lot of bread.
Well, that is an excellent good news story. Good job finding that story, Nick. If you have a news story that you want us to cover, make sure you DM us on Twitter, and we'll make sure to talk about it Monday morning. Until Monday morning, make sure you follow us on all social medias. The links are down in the show notes, and read our most recent news article that Nick wrote about Bitcoin and the internet being rewritten. But until Monday morning, see you guys.
See you guys.